The movie begins with two people riding in a boat in a river. One looks like a monk, whilst the one who rows the boat does not. They hear a baby crying somewhere. As they walk in a place that seems ruined, the cries continue to be heard. Soon they see the baby swinging alone in a type of bed. The monk collects the baby and becomes scared to see he's holding a skeleton. Thus, he drops it out of fear. The scene changes to show a man canoeing in the same river, wondering where the fish are. He hears a child yell out to his parents. We see a young boy stand near the water, continuing to call out to his parents. Seeing the man, he asks him if he caught any fish today. Since he has not, the boy gives him his food. His arm stretches unnaturally far to deliver it. This scares the man, whose name is Ayang, but he thanks the boy and quickly rows the boat away. The unnatural boy is Dean, the main character. A young girl of about the same age approaches him because she wants him to play with her plus the other kids. Later, we see a woman asking a man she calls her husband if he sent food to Dean. He tells her not to worry about him. If they don't feed the boy, someone else will. Ayang hurries to him, calling the man chief. He fearfully tells the chief how long Dean's arm is and demonstrates how he stretched it out. The chief tells him to get used to it already. He should stop being a chicken, the woman adds. It's not like Dean ever brought him serious harm. The chief tells Ayang his face is scarier than the boy's. Moving along, our attention is brought to three kids. The one named Samly shows the others his groove. Once the girl arrives with Dean, the five of them pretend they have elemental powers. Interestingly, fire is supposed to be Dean's power, and he actually ignites a flame in his hand. This amazes the boy close to him. The girl's mother interrupts them. She tells her daughter, Molly, she has to go home. The others go too, leaving Dean alone. We see he certainly has a power to him due to the buildings nearby undergoing a sort of deterioration. As the three kids walk together, the one who saw the fire in Dean's hand asks Heng if he saw it too. Heng says something is wrong with his eyes if he saw that. The next scene has a monk entering the temple. The monk we saw earlier is there. He is the abbot, having the arrived monk bow to him. He says he is from Bang Kapi, and the abbot's temple has a fine reputation. For this reason, he would like to be taken into it. Another man there, Phi, thinks the new monk wants to crash there, but the latter says he would like to stay there to focus on his Dhamma studies. So he gets accepted. At night, the abbot hears a noise from above while he is studying. It seems to stop with the aggressive sound of a cat. Suddenly, a boy with a grotesque face appears to startle him to the floor. Phi comes in to see the boy in the corner. Frightened, he leaves and holds the door closed, making it impossible for the abbot to escape with him. Trying to leave through the window, he gets grabbed by the boy, who emits fire in the process. The boy happens to be Dean, asking the abbot where he is going. He gets told not to show up like this because it is horrifying. Dean pleads for the abbot to stay and talk to him. He returns his face to normal. We learn the boy misses his parents. He wants to know when will he see them. This is something the abbot does not know. He changes the topic to say they have a new monk in the village. He tells Dean to give him a spooky welcome, which lights up the boy's face with joy. We discover he is a lot more unnatural than previously shown due to him dispersing into smoke. He appears elsewhere to terrify a woman. The new monk, whose name is Tun, hears this. Then all the windows in his place start to open and close repeatedly. Somehow he knows it is Dean doing this. He says the boy can't scare him. He asks Dean to show himself. Although he presents himself with his grotesque face, Tun still isn't scared. He seems to be the only one immune to the fear Dean naturally injects into others. This prompts the boy to say this is no fun. Upon getting asked why he is there, Dean says he needs the monk's help. He never met his parents. Tun is generous to say he will help him reunite with. Dean thanks him before he disperses into smoke again. On the next day, Tun asks the abbot if the whole village knows the truth about Dean. He learns the adults did not tell the kids, for they don't want to scare them. Later, Dean gets chicken delivered to him at his house. The man says he wanted to put kratom leaves in it so Dean could be in the sun. Once they leave, Dean wonders if kratom leaves can bring him sun tolerance. We currently don't know what this means. In the next scene, we see a festival taking place. The ones in charge encourage the people to put money in a box by singing a song. Samly is among the crowd, yelling for them to stop singing, for calling the song uncool. The ones in charge ask the rude boy who gave him that mouth. Samly's father happens to be there to defend his son. Following this, we observe Dean playing with Molly and being happy. Their friends watch them, causing the one named Sri to ask if they are the third wheel. Heng says they are. Switching to the chief, he tells the abbot he feels sorry for Dean. He also tells the crowd of people not to tell their kids what Dean is. If they learn the truth, the boy won't have any friends left. Then the abbot begins the sermon. He tells the people to be happy everywhere, whether it be at home, in a hole, in jail, or even in hell. The chief has to stop him to question if happiness in all those places is possible. Back to Dean with Molly, Samley starts to rap near them about the duo being together. He says in 100 years, his song will become a classic. Soon our attention is brought to people working, and one of them knocks over a hammer by accident. Since Dean sees it falling on a man's head, he reacts by stretching out his arm to push the hammer away. No one sees this bizarre happening except for Sri. He has a hard time believing what he saw. Afterward, Dean presents a spicy pepper to Molly and wants her to bite it. The girl cannot accept this offer. Thus Dean wants them both to bite it. Their friends can't stand seeing the two of them together. Samley expresses his jealousy. He wonders when he will meet his soulmate. Heng says it will happen when Samley's skin turns white. The latter realizes he will have to wait forever for that. Subsequently, Sri tells Heng and Molly there is something odd about Dean. He tells them what he saw earlier, but they instantly reject such a hard-to-believe statement. Later, the chief comes to the temple with his wife. They see a man lying there in fear. He is Mai, a silly man who says Dean tried to take his life. He says it happened at the banana grove. This makes the chief decide to set up a night patrol. He asks himself if it was really Dean who could have done this. Shifting to the kids, Sri shows his friends his dad's Buddha amulet. He says if Dean is truly a ghost, he will scream in pain if the amulet gets placed around his neck. So the boy performs this experiment. With the amulet on him, Dean is completely okay. This confuses Sri. Dean takes the necklace off and gives it to Samley, saying he looks possessed. Samley tells him to just call him Black instead. As he wears the necklace, he starts to experience serious pain. His friends think he's a ghost. Yet the truth is that he stepped on a splinter. Samley yells the amulet is bad luck. At night, we see two guys walking alone. The grotesque Dean gets on top of one of them. This prompts the other one to try striking Dean with a stick. However, Dean disperses and the man gets hit instead. The boy repeats this with the other man, which sparks a fight between them. Dean sits atop a tree, watching it while laughing. On the next day, they visit the chief to inform him of what Dean did. They think they at least got the boy well for the treatment he gave them. Looking at their injured state, the chief says it seems like Dean got them. His wife says Dean has never hurt anyone. Then a man arrives with two others and asks if they are trying to protect the little devil. The chief yells to him, asking who they are. He tells the intruder to watch his mouth. The leader of the three says he is QA, the great sorcerer plus vanquisher of evil. He offers his service to help get rid of Dean. The chief replies there is no ghost to hunt there. Therefore, he wants QA to leave. Before he leaves, QA says the chief could keep fooling himself, but one day he will need him. The next scene has Sri finding a mirror. He looks at Dean in the distance and says he will get him. He uses the mirror to see Molly in addition to Samley. Yet he doesn't see Dean in the reflection, which shocks him. He tells his friends about this. Alas, he continues to be disbelieved. Once Sri tries to show them Dean in the mirror, he sees the device is missing the glass. Somehow it has been removed. Sri is confused again. Following this, Tun tells the abbot that Dean's mother was cremated. He wants to know why Dean's corpse is still out there. The abbot answers a stillborn cannot be cremated because it is bad luck. He doesn't know where Dean's corpse is. It was buried somewhere to avoid being dug up and used for black magic. The woman from earlier, Chan, hears this. She rushes to the abbot, asking what kind of black magic. Phi is there to answer for him. He says it's the black magic that could turn Dean into a voodoo child. Afterward, Samley and Sri use a method to perceive Dean in his ghost form. Scared, Sri yells out to Dean that he is a ghost. He also tells Molly to stay away from him. Sri is not playing with a ghost. Finally, he has acquired another person who believes him, Samley. At night, the drunk man, tells Dean he feels sorry for him due to Dean being an orphan ghost. He says the boy's parents must have had a reason for what they did. He believes they will return for him. We learn that when Dean's mom passed away, wrapped her in a sacred shroud. He tells the boy he was born sideways, which gave his mother tremendous pain. On the next day, Dean joins his friends and Sri asks him if he knows they aren't living in the same world. Dean is shameless, he adds. He leaves with Samley whilst Heng stays behind to tell Dean he is sorry before he leaves too. Molly draws near to offer the ghost boy her smile. They continue to play and be happy. Come night, Dean materializes beside Tun, who asks the former what is wrong. The boy is saddened because his friends don't want to play with him for being a ghost. Tun gives him the sage truth that real friends will never leave him. Dean does not care about the other boys. What he doesn't want is for Molly to learn the truth. But the monk says one day everyone will understand. Then we see a woman offering a watermelon close to Dean's ruined house. She pleads for him not to harm her. In the next scene, Dean and Molly are together in his house. She says it's getting late, so she promises to play tomorrow. As she is leaving, she uses the method that was taught to her to see if Dean is truly a ghost. She sees him with a stretched out leg, reaching for a lemon with it through the floor. Horrified, Molly screams. At this moment, we get a flashback of how Dean met his friends. Molly introduced him to the other three. He remembers the moments he had with her. In the present, he cries to the memories. We see the four friends being together without Dean, and Hang tells Molly that is why he does not want to fall in love. Sri tells her to get over Dean, for people can't be with ghosts. He starts to sing a song that this love is impossible, but Samly gets him to stop. Subsequently, Dean materializes in front of QA plus his henchmen. QA tells the boy the latter's task is to spread fear in the village. He uses a fiery whip to strike Dean's face. It is the first time we see the powerful boy being beneath someone. QA yells there must be a deceased person in the village tonight. He whips Dean again to deliver substantial pain. Once Dean disperses, QA says his name will live in people's memories. He will be the one to defeat the ghost. He laughs with his cronies. Moving along, Tun is with Dean. The boy wants to be taken to his parents. He doesn't want to be here anymore. Thus the monk agrees to help him. However, he needs to know where Dean's corpse is buried. He says the boy's spirit is attached to his body, which is why Dean isn't free. The boy tells him where his corpse is, and replaces Tun, and says he knows who is behind all of this. Someone is turning the entire village against Dean, and thinks he is a good ghost who never hurt anyone. He should be admired for it. Then we see Aang alone. He finds Dean in the bushes and gets bitten by him. Strangely, another Dean appears to tell the first Dean to stop. The two identical boys engage in a fight until they hear people approaching. From the fight, it seems like one Dean is good, whilst the other is evil. The good one goes to the injured Aang, and the evil one vanishes. The chief arrives, demanding to know what Dean has done. The boy says he did nothing before he too vanishes. The chief learns that Aang lost his life from the bite. Following this, Chan sees Molly is upset, so she sits beside her to ask if she is okay. The girl, who happens to be Chan's daughter, shakes her head. Hugging her, Chan says she was the best friend of Dean's mother, but she admits to having abandoned her. Molly asks why did everyone pretend Dean was human. Chan says they weren't scared of him like they were of his mom. She also says it doesn't matter what Dean is, because he hasn't harmed anyone in the last 10 years. The next scene has the villagers wrapping the deceased Aang, since In talks about eating him. The chief slaps him on the head. Another man stresses that Dean is as evil as his mom. This prompts the chief's wife to tell him to be silent. Soon QA arrives with his henchmen. We learn the chief called for him, and he tells QA not to destroy Dean's spirit. QA gives the chief his word that he won't. He says he already started his ritual. Molly is there to hear this, causing her to worry. In concludes the scene on a funny note by taking a snake out of a bag. Everyone scatters in fear, yet all he does is ask if anyone has lost a snake. Molly runs to her friends, telling them they need to help Dean. Sri says Dean is a ghost plus he took a man's life. Molly objects to this. Samly and Sri start to act silly, making her push them down. She says whatever Dean is, he is still their friend. She decides to go help him without their help. Hang tells Sri that he is a bright boy, but his heart is full of darkness. He tells Samly his heart is even darker than his skin. With that, he runs to help Molly. In the meantime, we see someone has dug up Dean's corpse. Switching to QA, he leads the chief to an area where he will perform the ritual. The abbot arrives, telling QA not to hurt Dean. He also says Kawai and his cronies have ugly faces. QA retaliates by saying at least they don't beg for food. The chief informs the abbot that Dean took a man's life. For this, they cannot let him go unpunished. The abbot asks the chief if he saw the boy do it. The chief's wife says she has never seen Dean do such an awful thing. The abbot seems to become convinced, and he tells QA to take it easy on the boy. Then the sorcerer calls out to someone behind a tree. Chan comes out along with Tun, who is the one who dug up the corpse. QA reveals that Tun is no monk. He calls them idiots for believing he was one. The chief's wife insults Tun heavily for his deceit. At Dean's house, Molly and Hang approach the injured boy. He says he doesn't know what happened to him. In a short time, the other two arrive. When they start to help, Samly tells Hang the former's heart is not full of darkness. Soon the kids arrive at the place where the others are. They hide behind a tree lying on the ground. QA starts to stab the corpse and Dean feels the pain through the voodoo. Thankfully, Hang runs at him to push the sorcerer down. Samly collects the corpse. QA attempts to stop him, but Sri bites him to free his friend. Real teamwork is on display here. Samly tosses the corpse to Molly so she can run with it. We see a fight has ensued between the leaders of the village and the evildoers. The abbot demonstrates superior skill in taking down one of QA's cronies. Amid the chaos, In gets a hold of another corpse, similar to Dean's. It has threads bounding it that In undoes. Once Samly draws near Molly, she gives him Dean's corpse. She tells him to bring it to the shelter. Back to In, he tosses the corpse, causing the other Dean to appear. Except this other boy isn't Dean. He was made to look like him outwardly. He says his name is Ingjern. At this point, In realizes he is the one who harassed the villagers and made everyone think it was Dean. Ingjern says QA forced him to do the bad things because he locked the boy's spirit. He thanks In for setting him free prior to dispersing. Afterward, Samly unties the threads holding Dean's corpse. This makes the sky darken quickly. The kids come to the villagers to say they have Dean's corpse. QA orders them to give it to him or he will take Molly's life. She is being held hostage by Tun, but In arrives to knock him out from behind with a stick. For this, QA wants to flatten the village. He tries to summon Ingjern, and In says he set him free. It doesn't take long for Dean to appear in front of QA. He tells the evil man that he was living in peace, yet QA turned the village against him. When QA says he's not scared of him, Dean's eyes turn red. He starts to choke the sorcerer with his power. This is followed by Dean using QA's hand to stab QA. As the stabbing takes place, a woman calls out to Dean, saying it's time to stop this cycle of karma. All the villagers turn to look at her. We get a flashback of Dean's parents being together and having the boy. Since Dean does not know who the woman is, the chief says it's his mother. Suddenly, Dean becomes overtaken with emotion. He runs to hug her for the first time in his life. She tells her son she is sorry, and he cries while saying he misses her a lot. His dad is there too. His mom says she is there to take the boy with her. She wants him to say goodbye to his friends. Heading over to them, Dean says he loves Samly in addition to Heng. They return these words to him. To Sri, Dean says he's not mad at the boy for turning against him. Sri apologizes for it and says he loves Dean. Lastly, he asks Molly if they meet in the next life. Will she still be his friend? She simply hugs him without saying anything. Once Dean goes with his parents, his corpse finally disperses in Samly's arms. The friends watch the family leave in tears. The concluding scene has Dean together with Molly near the water. She asks him if she perishes and becomes a ghost, would he still be her friend? Of course, he says he would. This is a moment Molly remembers, among others, as she watches Dean walk away into the afterlife.